Hey, how are you today? I hope you're doing great. My name is Gunnar and welcome to today's episode. Today we're going to be talking about frugality. Okay, what is frugality? Why is it so important? And, how do we apply it in our lives, in our daily financial lives, so that it's effective and not be just completely constrained to our budget, or not being able to buy these certain things because, maybe it costs too much. And trust me, I do agree that buying things that are too expensive, I don't think you should buy them personally, because I don't think that's the way to prosperity in any way. I think if you see something that is too expensive or out of your price range, of course you shouldn't buy it. That's just what I believe. I don't think that we should be buying stuff that is not within our price range. I think if we want to buy stuff that costs more, then we definitely have to level up in our job. We have to either get a higher paying job, or, in my opinion, you should become an entrepreneur. And it may take a while, but eventually you'll be able to make more money through that business that you own, and you'll be able to buy more things because those things will be within your price range. Now, do you ever splurge? I don't think you should. I think when you splurge, that is when you go broke. So, in order to not to splurge, what do? We become frugal. We watch out for our money. We make sure that we're budgeting it. We make sure that we're using it in a way that is effective, that we're buying things, we're being cost conscious, and we're buying things with price tags that make sense. And I know things are really expensive these days. Trust me, when I go to the store and I see jeans and I see shirts, and at thrift stores, okay? And I'm in favor of thrift stores, don't get me wrong, but even at thrift stores, a pair of jeans is $18 to $20 when you can go to Walmart and you can buy it for $25 brand new. I know things are expensive. That is why we have to be frugal. That is why we have to sometimes rein back our spending, because what happens is we spend so much over here thinking everything is expensive, I can just buy this. When in fact, if we would have just looked for a deal over here, we wouldn't have blown all our money on this product, and we would still have more to, say, invest, put in a savings account, have security from that, and be more financially prosperous. So you're probably thinking, what is frugality? You probably already know because it's all over the internet. If you don't, I'm going to explain it to you really quick right here, and very simply. Frugality is basically just you being efficient with your resources, okay? You're not splurging, you're not taking all of your money or whatever it is that you have, and you're not just blowing it, all right? You're being cost conscious. You're saying, I have this much money. I do not want to spend it all on one product. I want to be frugal with this. I want to take this money and be able to spend it on two products. And so I'm going to go look for a deal on this one product and on this other product so that I can afford them both, instead of spending your entire budget on this one product. That's frugality. We take our expenses and we use it in a way that is cost conscious and effective. All right, so let me give you just a real quick story right here. Let's say that Mary, all right, she's getting ready for prom. Prom's coming up, let's say, in 1 week. All right, she's got 1 week to prepare for prom. What she does is she goes online and she's looking at dresses. All right, the dresses are really expensive from what she's seeing, and she says, I only have this much money in my budget. I can't afford this dress. Or she says, I can't afford this dress, but it's going to take up everything I have, and I don't want to spend, let's say she's been saving for 6 months, getting ready for prom. She doesn't want to spend her entire 6 months or years worth of payments that she's been working at a store, and she doesn't want to take all that money that she's earned and spend it on one dress. She wants to be frugal with it. She wants to spend it in a cost-conscious way. So what she's going to do is she's going to say, all right, I have this much money. I can't spend it all on this one dress. I just don't feel right doing that. It doesn't really make a lot of sense because I'll be left with nothing. And other expenses may come up for this prom. I need to have money for that. Instead of buying this dress brand new, I'm going to go to a thrift store. Trust me, I know it sounds cheap to go to thrift stores, and your friends may not think it's cool, but you're going to save a lot more money. And if your friends don't change, your friends are going to be broke, all right? If they're buying really expensive clothing, trust me, your friends are going to be broke. Do not be ashamed and do not be embarrassed to go buy at thrift stores. I buy at thrift stores all the time. I'm not ashamed or embarrassed by it. All right, you shouldn't be either. So what Mary's going to do is she's going to go to this thrift store and she's going to look for a prom dress there. She finds one. It's within her budget. She's going to have leftover money to be able to buy, let's say, spend on makeup and any hair products that she needs. All right, she's going to buy this dress at this thrift store, have leftover money. And that's smart financial decision making. So Mary buys the dress, it fits great, it looks pretty, and she goes to prom happily ever after. And she has money left over, let's say for her hair and makeup, all right? That's being frugal, that's being thrifty. Let's say Jack, he wants to buy a truck, all right? Jack's been saving up, let's say he's 22 right now. Jack's been saving up for 5 years to buy this truck. So is Jack gonna spend his entire 50 grand on this brand new truck? And to tell you the truth, that's actually on a good day, because a lot of trucks nowadays, they cost about 100 grand for a brand new truck. It's insane, but we'll talk about that in later episodes. But let's just say this truck costs 50 grand. Is Jack gonna spend his entire 50 grand on this one truck? Or is he gonna be frugal? And what would that mean, him being frugal? Would that mean maybe him going to a used car dealership and him buying a car there? Or would he spend this entire 50 grand because, hey, you only live once, you might as well splurge? I personally believe that if Jack wishes to get ahead in life financially, if he wishes to move up, then he's not gonna spend his entire 50 grand on that one truck. He's gonna be frugal with it. He's gonna go to a used car dealership. He's gonna look for a car that he can afford there. So let's say he finds a truck at this used car dealership. Of course, it's not the same. It's not brand new. It's not the same as the one on the brand new lot, but he's going to be financially smart by buying this truck for 30 grand on this used car lot, and he's going to have $20,000 left over, let's say for repairs, or maybe he's going to be going out of town and, well, that's kind of crazy. I was about to say he's going to be going out of town and he needs spending money, but if you spend 20 grand going out of town, that's a little much, especially if you live with your parents. But let's say he saved this extra 20 grand for repairs. Maybe he has some other expenses he needs to pay for. Maybe he's already moved out. By 22, he probably has moved out. He's going to need these things to, say, put towards a home, put towards some land, maybe put towards rent. He's going to need that extra 20 grand. He does not want to blow his entire 50 grand on a truck and have nothing left. That's not smart financially, and you don't want to do that with your money. Another reason it's important is because let's say one day you become a millionaire, all right? And trust me, that dream can be reached if that is one of your goals, to be a millionaire one day. Let's say you become a millionaire, all right? Let's take Dave, for example. He's been working for 10 years and he's finally become a millionaire. Once he becomes a millionaire, Dave was never taught to be frugal. So once he becomes a millionaire, he buys what he wants. He buys whatever he sees. He just wants it, all right? And he buys it. So let's say Dave becomes a millionaire and he buys a new house, all right? That's fine. Yeah, Dave buys a new house. That's great. Then Dave buys a new truck. Then Dave's wife, Ashley, she buys a new car. Then Dave sees a boat, all right? And he's buying that boat. Then his kid, little Jimmy, wants an ATV. He gets Jimmy an ATV. His financial accountant calls him one day and she says, "Sir?" He says, "Hey, how you doing?" She says, "Sir, you're broke." He says, "What?" She says, "Sir, you're broke." He looks over at his wife. "Hold on a second. Honey, we're broke." That's what would happen to you if you were not financially frugal. All right, if you were not financially literate, if you didn't know about being frugal, about budgeting, about saving, that's what would happen to you. You would become a millionaire, and then a year from then, you'd be broke. And that's why I'm telling you, be financially frugal so you don't end up like that. So you don't reach your goal of being a millionaire that you've been working for 10 years and then lose it all within a year because you didn't know how to be frugal. You didn't know how to save. You didn't know how to look for deals. You didn't know how to be patient and wait for that deal to come along. Patience is a huge, huge part of being frugal, because personally, I go to thrift stores all the time, all right? And I don't always get the deal that I want. I don't always go there and find a deal. That's why I have to be patient. I have to go there the next week and the next week and the next week. And I have to wait and be patient and wait for that deal to come to me. But at the same time, I'm taking initiative. I'm being frugal. I'm going and looking for the deal. I'm being patient, and eventually that deal will come. We just have to be patient in it. So that's why being frugal is important. You don't want to waste all your money because you've worked hard for it. And it's not easy to come by. You have to put in hard work. All right. Even if you're a girl, you still have to put in hard work, all right? Think of that payment you made last month from the work you made, from maybe the job that you work at, all right? That meant something. That payment meant something because you worked hard for it. You do not want to blow it, all right? You still have to be frugal, because think about the paycheck or the payment that you received last month from your job, all right? That felt good. That felt like, yeah, this was nice. I worked hard for this. I'm getting this payment, and I do not want to blow it on just whatever because I only live once. You want to keep that money. You don't want to splurge. You don't want to just blow it all on everything. You want to be frugal with it. You want to put some over here. You want to allocate this money, and you want to be smart with it. So that's why I'm teaching you to be frugal in this episode. Now, one thing I will say is that a lot of people get a lot of heat for not letting you buy your cup of coffee or go to this movie because of frugality. You don't want to do that. All right, I know of people that just budget everything, and they do not want to spend an extra dime on anything. They want to be as frugal as possible. I have no problem with that. Personally, I don't want to live that way. I don't want to be as frugal as humanly possible. I do want to, use my money in a way that is effective and efficient, and I want you to use your money that way too, which is why I'm teaching you this. But being frugal is a good thing. If you think you're spending too much money on coffee, the average American spends about $2,000 on coffee each year. A man spends about $1,400, and the average lady, she spends about $2,000. Now, do Americans spend a lot in coffee each year? Yeah. A lot of teens and a lot of young people spend, in my opinion, way, way too much money on food, drinks, restaurants, coffee. In my opinion, they do. Now, you may not be one of those people that spend so much money on coffee and restaurants and all this, but definitely look at your spending. Say, am I spending too much money on this certain product, on this drink, whatever it is? And am I spending too much money on it? Can I cut back? Can this money be used over here? Is there a hole in my budget that needs to be filled? And can I cut back, let's say on your coffee or, your Chick-fil-A? Am I spending too much money on eating out? And can I cut back on that and take some of that money and fill this hole in my budget? That could be something you could definitely consider, and I definitely recommend you doing that. I'm going to give you 4 reasons right now why you should be frugal, why you should be thrifty, why you should be smart with your money, why you should shop at thrift stores, look for deals, and never be ashamed of it. Number 1, it keeps you humble, all right? A lot of people, they get a high mind thinking they can buy all this. They got money. Let's say daddy's rich and I can buy this BMW. I feel good about myself because let's say you're a girl and your friends think you're so great because your daddy's rich and he gave you enough money to buy this BMW. So now you can go to school riding around a BMW and you feel good about yourself. So if you go to a thrift store, that's going to take your image and throw it to the ground. Well, guess what? What you buy, what you ride around in, what you wear, what you drive, what you live in, the kind of money you have, that doesn't define who you are. That doesn't mean that you're a good person or better than a poor person. It means nothing. What means something is the decisions and the choices that you make. That's what means something. So let's say you want to go shop at a thrift store, but you can't do it because your friends will think that you're poor, or your friends will think that you're not good enough to hang around them anymore, and you're afraid that if you get your clothes at a thrift store, your friends aren't going to let you be around them. Those aren't your real friends anyway. I personally would get rid of those friends because those aren't real friends. Those friends don't actually care about you. They're only in it for what it gets them. You hanging out with them and you riding around your BMW, that makes them look good, and that's all they care about. So personally, I would ditch those friends. So that's one of the reasons that being frugal is a good thing. Shopping at thrift stores, looking for deals, not just buying whatever it is that makes you, feel good in your mind or makes other people look at you. Being frugal keeps you humble, and that's a very important part of wealth building. Thinking that you did it all by yourself, that you didn't have someone helping you, or that, you didn't have this team that helped you out and you did it all by yourself. Having a high-minded attitude like that is something that's, first of all, you probably won't have your wealth long because you're a high-minded person. You're going to buy what makes other people look at you, and those products are usually pretty expensive. You're not going to have your money long. So I would suggest be humble no matter what, whether you're poor, rich, whatever it is, whether you're the rich guy in class. Excuse me, my eye was itching. Whether you're the rich guy in class or the really rich girl, the really rich cheerleader, you don't have to, you don't owe the world, you don't owe your friends anything. You don't have to have that image of, I can't shop here, I can't look for deals, I can't do this because my friends are going to look down on me. That means nothing, trust me. Those aren't your real friends. So be humble. Number 2, it saves us money, which can be invested in a whole lot of other things. Say you want to go to college and you need this degree because it's going to help you get to your profession. Whatever your profession you're going into, your degree is going to help you do that. So let's say you need to go to college and you only have this much money saved up. You can't buy it, you can't spend it all on this car that you need to go to college. You can't spend it all on this car, this new car. So you're going to go to this used car dealership, like I mentioned earlier. You're going to buy this car and have leftover money to be able to invest in a college education if you need that college education. So save, budget, be frugal, because you can take that leftover money and put it towards other things that you're going to need in the future. That's smart decision making, that's security, and that will keep you from hopefully being broke, all right? Also, it stimulates our creativity. Let's say, like I mentioned earlier, I go to thrift stores a lot. I buy thrift a lot, all right? Let's say one day this thrift store doesn't have what I want, doesn't have what I need. That's okay. I can go to, let's say, another thrift store, all right? I can get creative with this. I can go to another thrift store, or I can talk to my friends. Guys, you know anywhere I can go to get this suit? I need this suit. Do you know anywhere I can go? Do you have a suit that I could buy from you? That's being creative. Let's say Mary, she buys this dress for prom, and after prom, she doesn't need a dress anymore. So instead of just throwing it away, she goes to a thrift store and they give her money for her dress. She's being frugal. She's being thrifty. She knows what she's doing. She's being smart with her money. She's getting cash back, and she didn't even pay full price for this dress, but then she's taking it to another thrift store saying, hey, I don't need this anymore. I used it once. Do you want to give me some money for this? So it stimulates creativity. That's why being frugal is so important. Number 4 is that it helps reduce our debt. So let's say you're in debt. You have car payments you're paying on. You have college debt, or you don't want to go into college debt and you don't want to get car payments. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut back on some things. Let's say you go out to eat a lot, all right? And a lot of teens do. I know you guys, you spend a lot of money on going out. Trust me, I understand. But let's say you're in debt and you're saving up or let's say you want to save up for a car and you don't want to have to go into debt to buy this car. What you're going to do is you're going to be frugal with your money. You're going to maybe cut back on the spending on eating out at restaurants, and you're going to put some of that money towards being able to pay for this car. That's another reason why being frugal is so important, because it allows you to either reduce your debt and get out of debt, or it keeps you from getting into debt. One other reason is that it keeps us from being lazy. Let's say, like I mentioned earlier, I'm trying to find a suit and I'm going to thrift stores to look for them. I'm trying to get coupons to buy online. I'm not going to be lazy in doing these things, because being thrifty is going to keep me moving. It's going to keep me going to this thrift store to look for this, going to this store to look for this, keep me looking for these coupons, keep me aware of these coupons so that I can buy and get a deal. It's going to keep me from becoming lazy and just buying what I see. All right. It's going to keep me patient. Those are some of the reasons that being thrifty and being frugal are very, very important. Keeps you smart, keeps you humble, keeps you from being lazy, and like I said, keeps you out of debt. So now I'm going to teach you how to be thrifty, okay? I'm going to share with you some principles that I personally use, and I hope that if you use them, they will definitely help you be able to afford more things that you need, be able to take leftover money and invest it in certain other areas of your life, and be more financially secure. So number 1, buy off-brand clothing. I personally buy a lot of off-brand clothing, and it saves me a lot of money. All right, buy off-brand clothing. Don't get caught up in the really expensive cars, really expensive clothing. Buy off-brand stuff. Now, word of warning here, always buy with intelligence. And what I mean by that is make sure you've researched what you're buying, okay? Don't just buy because the price tag, it's expensive, that must mean it's good. Not necessarily, especially nowadays. Buy with intelligence. Do your research. Make sure what you're buying is smart. Even with clothing, all right? Research. Go online and look at the reviews on this certain jacket or t-shirt, whatever it is, and make sure that the reviews on the clothing you're buying are good reviews and you're not just getting a piece of junk with a high price tag. So, buy off-brand clothing, research your clothing, buy quality clothing, all right? Don't get me wrong, buy quality clothing, because otherwise you'll end up just buying because the stuff you're buying is junk. So look at the reviews, buy quality clothing, and I personally would advise you to stay away from name brand clothing, because usually name brand clothing is gonna cost way more than off-brand clothing. Number 2, make meals at home. A lot of teens, they eat out, especially like after school. I understand you want to go to the restaurant with your friends. I understand that. Instead of going to the restaurant, invite your friends over to your house and have a little cookout in the backyard, because it's going to be so much cheaper than going to Chick-fil-A or going to McDonald's. Trust me, I know how expensive that stuff is. It'll break the bank like that. So have a backyard cookout and make meals at home. That's my advice to you, all right? Number 3, stop buying games and start investing in your financial education. A lot of guys out there, you play your games, and trust me, games are fun. I've played them, I know, all right? They can also be a little addictive, you gotta be careful, but I know they're fun. Here's a word of warning though, and let me ask you one question. How are playing games advancing you? How are they advancing your financial education, your relationships, whatever it is in your life? How are they advancing you? How are they making you smarter? How are they making you better? Are they making you a better person? And be honest with yourself. Don't answer this question to me. Be honest with yourself. How are they making you a better person? And how are they making you more financially literate? If they're not making you a better person, if they're not making you financially literate, if they're not helping you to achieve your real life goals, then ditch the games, because they're just taking money out of your pocket. They're wasting your time, and you don't want to waste your time. You do not want to do that. The only leverage you have being young right now is your time, all right? So use your time wisely. Number 5, use your common sense, all right? If you think something's too expensive, don't buy it. Don't give in to the whole, I'll never find another deal like this. Trust me, you'll find a better deal. So don't give in to the whole thing like, I'll never find another deal. I'll never be able to find this again. No, you will be able to find it. Trust me, be patient. Use your common sense. Don't buy things that are way out of your price range. Use your common sense and be smart. And always look for deals, because you can always find them. Last thing I want to say is this. The average American wastes, okay? They waste about 20 grand per year. That is a ton of money, and we young people growing up, we do not want to be wasteful like that, all right? You do not want to waste that 20 grand. You want to put it towards, let's say, memories, doing something with family. You want to put it towards a car, towards a house, towards land, to be able to build a house on. You want to invest it somewhere. You do not want to waste it. So make sure you're being frugal. Make sure that you're being smart with your money. And a final word here. Being frugal, like I said, is going to keep you humble. It's going to keep you patient. It's going to make you a better example for other young people that are following you. And you're going to be able to teach them that, hey, it's not about what people look at me. They look at me and they say, oh, he's wearing a name brand jacket, or she's wearing these pretty nice shoes and they're name brand and they cost $400 to $600. It's not about that. You don't owe anything to the world. You don't owe anything to your friends who will look down on you if you buy thrift. You don't owe anything to those people, all right? You don't need to be able to, you don't have to impress them with what you drive, what you wear, how much money is on your credit card. And don't get me wrong, I do not advise using credit cards at all. But you don't need to impress them with any of that stuff. You don't owe them anything. You have to be the best person that you can be, all right? That's your goal, to be the best person you can be. To show these other people, to show these other kids that it's not about what I wear. It's about who I am. It's about the quality of my decisions, the quality of the choices I make. That's what makes me a decent person. It's not about what I wear. It's about the decisions that I make. It's about my mindset. Is my mindset of weakness? Am I going to be like, oh, they're looking down on me, so I'm going to quit? No, you're going to keep pushing forward. You're going to keep moving forward. And that's what frugality is going to teach you. It's going to teach you to work hard and look for those deals. It's going to teach you not to give up because you may not always find the deals. It's going to help you become mentally strong because you're going to be able to fight the doubt of, I'll never be able to find this deal, so I should just give up and buy this really expensive thing I can't afford. No, you be strong and you wait for the deal. You be patient. All right? That's what frugality is going to teach you. And I hope you learn these lessons. And lastly, frugality is going to teach you to be a problem solver. All right, which is something we young people definitely need to learn, because nowadays we can just take AI and look up anything we want and we don't have to problem solve anymore, and that's not good. Problem solving skills are critical in being financially literate and critical in just living life. All right, you have to be a problem solver. You have to find solutions and make that your priority with your finances, with your life. Find solutions. Don't get beat down by the negativity of, I can't do this. No, how do I do this? Find the solution. How do I afford this? How do I find this deal? How do I buy this prom dress or buy this truck without having to go into debt or without having to spend an astronomical amount of money on something that I'm only going to use once? All right? It'll teach you to be a problem solver. And I really hope you heed these lessons and learn them, because you're going to need them throughout your entire life. Not just when you're young, when you're middle-aged, when you're old, whatever it is, you're going to need these lessons. So I hope you learn them. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you back here next week, and I can't wait to see you again. So stick around, and I'll see you later. Thank you.